Good afternoon, Hopkinton. If it's HCAM and it's 2 o'clock, it's got to be the Hangout Hour. Am I right, guys?
You're right.
All right. Thank you. Welcome to our show today. We are live on Wednesday, the 10th of June. And we have two segments for you today, as we usually try to do. And our first one is pre-recorded. It is an interview with our news director, Tom Nappy, with Jane Moran, who is a current candidate on the ballot this year. And our second segment will be the four of us. Tom is out working on some other stuff for the election. So the four of us will be here bringing you some updates about some interesting stuff that is happening in our community. Some of it we just found, actually a lot of it we just found out about today. So it's pretty exciting, and we hope you stay around for that. But for right now, we're going to start off. If Mike is ready to roll the tape, you will see Tom's interview. So take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. We are here with Jane Moran, who is a candidate for the planning board. Jane, how are you doing?
Oh, fine. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us on the Hangout Hour. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about what made you want to run for the planning board?
Okay, so it's probably a long story. I've lived in town for a long time. I first became involved in town politics when Legacy Farms came to town. And I became an active participant in planning board, ZAC, and a lot of other town committees. And I felt like I, got to know their policies, their procedures, their, how they kind of method of operation. But I was still working full time. And after I retired, there were some issues in town that piqued my interest. And I thought, well, maybe I'll start continue to be involved again. Because I never really stopped with the Legacy Farm stuff. I was really actively involved with the mitigation and, trying to continue the conversation on how we could control our growth for the town. Mm-hmm. And, make sure that promises were kept and things like that. So there were some changes with the planning board, and there was an opportunity, there was an opening. And I thought, well, let me just throw my name into the hat and see what happens. And so I think it was in January or February, I don't remember when it was, but there were like 7 or 8 candidates that actually requested both the planning board and the select board to have them appointed. And it was like a round robin type of a thing. And we all had to answer questions and kind of talk what we wanted to see happen with the town and the vision. And at the end of the round robin, guess what? They voted me in. So one of the questions was, if we do appoint you tonight, are you interested in running for the position? And I said, well, sure. Why am I here if I'm not going to run for this open position? So that's how that happened, and that's why I'm here now.
Terrific. So have you had any past experiences in volunteering in town office or any committees?
Okay, so yes, lots. I did a lot of volunteering with my kids when they were growing up. They're not town committees or anything, but it was all volunteering for the town. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H. In fact, I was the Boy Scout leader for Troop 1 for 9 years. But through those, all of those are all interconnected, and that you have to really be aware of what's going on in town. And especially if you're going to be a volunteer, you have to be aware. So that was that way back when. And then I think it was in 2014, there was an availability to that the select board put out an opportunity for our folks to volunteer to be partners with the Upper Charles Trail Committee. So I did volunteer for that, and I've been on that committee since 2014.
Oh, very nice. And what are some of the things that you do for the Upper Charles Trails Committee?
So our charge for the Upper Charles Trail Committee, per the Board of Selectmen, is to plan, engineer, construct a Class 5 trail system similar to what the Milford Trail is, from the Milford Bike Trail, where it ends close to the border of Hopkinton, all the way through Hopkinton up to the Hopkinton, through Hopkinton to the Ashland town line. So we have been busy involving engineering studies and public meetings, trying to get consensus on what is the best possible route. And it's been challenging for our town because, unlike Milford and Holliston, where they had an established band and rail trail system,
Mm-hmm.
Hopkinton does not. We have 2 segments that are left in town, or maybe 3, but one was the Echo Trail, one was the Center Trail. All the rest, when we establish this trail, when we plan this route, we have to go over the river and through the woods, through wetlands, all roundabout ways. So it's actually quite challenging to get consensus from neighbors, from private property owners. And what we realized very early was that we needed to utilize as much town open space as we possibly could, because that would be the most economical. And actually, we do have a lot of open space between Milford and Ashland. And we've been able to acquire some property. We've encouraged the town through CPC to purchase other properties that we envisioned that could be useful for the trail system. But it's a tedious job and it's not finished. We might be 2/3 the way done. I look at it as this way, where it's going to be, we are at the end of the day going to recommend to both the public and the select board what our recommendation is. But it's both political and economical, because the economical part comes from the state approving the plan that we present, using our engineering, using our data, using the facts that we have gathered over the years. And then we will present it through our processes to the public and finally to the select board. So there's really 2 big components. So our big job as an Upper Charles Trail is to recommend what we feel is the best process to go forward. And it will be up to the citizens of Hopkinton and the select board to decide if they want to take that route or not.
Wow, it sounds like there's a lot involved there.
It's huge.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's considerations such as, what trees do you have to take down to make this happen, or whose property do you have to go through?
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's a situation where you guys are trying to be as less invasive as possible on trees and property as well, right?
Correct. And also, we have to abide by the Conservation Commission's guidelines. We have to abide by the state DEP guidelines. We have to abide by scenic road guidelines. We have to be sensitive to private property owners along our route, and we are trying to be very sensitive to that, so that we don't, violate or even threaten people's private property owners' rights. We just did a pass. It may not be part of the Upper Charles Trail, but it's called the Campus School Connector.
Mm-hmm.
And we mitigated and negotiated with the property owners that were neighbors. Even though the town owns the property, they have every right to go through there. But we felt like we really needed to be sensitive to the private property owners who were neighbors. And so we talked to them for probably over a year, trying to come up with some sort of compromise before we felt comfortable going through. We also had to get permission from the school committee, and we had to get the kind of go ahead from the Conservation Commission before we could do any of that stuff. And then we last year applied for a grant from the state trail to do the engineering studies. So and we don't know if that's going to happen or if we're going to get it, but we felt like we did a really good job preparing the document. But now with all this coronavirus stuff going on, we haven't heard from the state yet, but we're hopeful that if it's not this year, maybe next year, we may get permission to get those engineering studies and go through, at least with the engineering studies. Now what that will allow us to do is have the state pay for the engineering studies, and that will save the town huge money.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and then we can take those engineering studies and apply it to the final product, which will be the construction piece. So it's the engineering first you have to come up with, and then you have to come back later with the construction. So it's a big project, and so that's just one piece. The total project is about 8 miles.
Wow.
And so it's about $1 million a mile. So there's no way in heck that Hopkinton will pay for $1 million a mile.
Right.
Not gonna happen. So what we have to be careful with is that we comply with all of the state regulations in our application for this grant, so that the state at the end of the day will feel comfortable paying for the grant.
Wow. So how long has all this taken you to plan out the 8 miles, would you say?
Okay, so we've been at it since about 2014, as I mentioned.
Oh, right. Okay. So,
I think we're probably 2/3 the way there with our planning. We still have several pieces that we either have to acquire through CPC,
right.
through private property, or other accommodations that we have to work for. So we don't know if this is actually going to happen at the end of the day, but that's our goal, just to see if we can continue to keep going with it and see if that happens.
But I'd imagine in the worst case, they could maybe downscale it a little bit and get something going.
I don't know. That's going to be up to the state at the end of the day to see if they, like I said, it's 2 parts. It's one part is up to the state to see if they economically will pay for it. The second
Right.
part is a political piece to see if the town actually wants to see this project go forward. And so our job as the Upper Charles Trail Committee is to present all of the facts, all the engineering studies, do our public meetings, and see what folks want.
Well, it sounds like a really cool project, and I know that Hopkinton is a big. They're a big trail town. They're big into walking, big into running. So I think it sounds like a great project, and certainly would love to see it happen at some point.
Thank you. I think the feedback that we've gotten, that a lot of people would like to be able to see something similar to the Milford Bike Trail that goes from Milford all the way to the Hopkinton State Park.
Oh yeah, that's a great trail they got going there.
It is.
Yeah,
And
great.
we have some beautiful um, geography in this town that we would love to be able to share with everyone if we can accomplish it. And if everyone wants to go along with it, we'll see what folks want to do at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, and John Ritz works with us. He's on the Hopkinton Trails Committee.
He is.
So he does a lot with them. So he's, I'm sure, big into this as well.
Yeah.
But there's some great trails in Hopkinton. Wonderful
There
place
are.
to walk around.
And so most of the trails in Hopkinton currently exist are what we like to call as a class 1, 2, or 3 type trail. It's just walk through the woods. You know, you're walking on pine needles and stones and, you know, stuff like that. This type of the trail that we're doing or planning for is very different in that it's a Milford bike trail type of assistance, where it would have to be, if the state is going to pay for it, they require that it be a hard surface.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for all the
okay.
because
more like a paved surface?
It's a paved surface.
Right.
And if they're going to pay for it, they are requiring that the engineering support paved surface. So it could be that we could have stone dust in some segments, but they will only allow hard surface in other areas. And at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the engineers and to the state.
Right.
And obviously the citizens of Hopkinton, if they decide if they want to do it or not.
Well, we shall see. I know you guys are putting a lot of work into it. So
yeah,
I'm sure there'll be something great to come out of it for sure.
Yeah.
So the point of these interviews is to allow the community to get to know the candidates a little bit. So I want to ask you, what are some of your interests? What are some of the things that you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, good grief. Well, I still work and I have a farm. And I have 9 grandchildren. So I'm just very busy.
Oh, sounds it. So how has your quarantine experience been during these last few months? And I'm sure you've had your hands full with the family, but you able to see your grandchildren and stuff like that?
Well, we do a lot of social distancing. We do a lot of outdoor picnics and that type of thing. We just opened up the pool, so that's kind of fun, and we kind of time it. So different grandkids come at different times, but yeah. And then when I'm at work, I make sure I have my mask with me all the time.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's really challenging times right now.
It certainly is.
I'll get through this.
Yeah, you got to get through it, and you know, we're a tough country, so I think we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly hope that the virus goes away relatively soon, and things will be back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But at least things are starting to open back up again, so that's a good
yes,
thing.
Thankfully, yes.
So you are in the uncontested planning board race, so it's more likely than not that you'll get in. So what are some of the things that you hope to accomplish in the planning board? Is there any specific projects that you really want to take part in?
Okay, so I just want to bring a different voice to the planning board. And I know everyone says that, so that's a cliche, but just this past week, it proved that I was a different voice because I was outvoted. I think it was 7-1 or 8-1. I'm not exactly, but it had to do with the commercial solar farm, commercial solar ZAC zoning. ZAC brought some language to the planning board to approve. And the planning board at the end of the day voted to approve it. And I was the only one that voted not to approve it because I thought it was just premature. I thought we were jumping the gun. I don't think that we have done enough research. I think that if we completely, this is the language would restrict commercial solar only to the 495 belt and some other small parcels in Hopkinton, and completely restrict it from all residential areas that, and right now, the way the current bylaw is that anyone that lives in a residential area with 3 acres or more has the opportunity, it's just an opportunity, to do commercial solar in their backyard. What that would allow them to do is to keep their property, lease it out to a commercial solar property, and get income for the next 20 years or whatever it is, and leave something for their kids so they wouldn't have to leave Hopkinton. If this zoning bylaw passes, that completely eliminates that opportunity for all residentials in the town of Hopkinton with 3 acres or more. So what does that leave the residents with? That what's left? And this is my argument. What's left? That's leaving the homeowners with the opportunity to sell their property to developers. Okay, so now we've got more houses. We've got this big, we're growth study committee out there. How do we control growth? Well, okay, so you're going to control growth by robbing people the opportunity of putting in solar and then bringing in 20, 30, 40 homes. More police, more fire, more DPW, more infrastructure, more traffic. This is my big thing, traffic in Hopkinton. How do we control the traffic? I went to a couple of growth study committees and I said, there's a simple way that we can slow down traffic without spending a lot of money. So there's multiple issues out there. And I just think that by just throwing out the baby with the bathwater and not allowing people to have that choice of either solar or selling out to developers, that we're not really doing an honest job at looking at solar completely. There's a lot of stuff right now in our bylaw that is lacking. We don't talk about proper screening. We don't talk about grading issues. In other words, if you are going to put in solar on your property, there could be some language in our bylaw that states that we don't allow something over 5% or 8% of a grade so that it's not ugly. And a lot of these solar farms are ugly. So how do we fix that? I think that there's a lot of stuff we can do. Right now, I think it's 50-foot limit between property owners so that they could develop, they just go in there. These solar companies go in there and they just go right with whatever the current restrictions are now, and they just build these solar functions. If we passed an intelligent, thoughtful bylaw that had some really good language in it, we could control it so that it's not ugly, so that we don't get the glare pushback, and that we can have year-round evergreen growth. Like right now, I was at the last planning board meeting, I said, why are we all just doing arborvitaes? Deer go in there and eat the arborvitae, and then we don't have any more coverage. Let's do some rhododendrons. Let's do some spruces. How about if we hire a consultant even and get somebody in there with some expertise so that we have an intelligent conversation going forward?
Right.
I don't know. So anyway, so I was the one lonely vote that voted against putting this language forward. So it's going to go before town meeting, and who knows what's going to happen. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the citizens of Hopkinton to decide what they want to do.
Well, it should be interesting, and I think it
always is.
Yeah, and I think it's great to have varying opinions, varying voices on the town boards, and I think that's what makes everything work so well. So we got a few minutes left. I want to ask you some rapid fire questions, and it's just about some of your favorite things, and it's totally okay to say you don't have a favorite or I don't know.
I got lots of favorites.
All right, so here we go. What's your favorite food to eat?
Oh my goodness gracious, probably salads.
Okay. What about your favorite food to cook?
Oh, that's a tough one. I love cooking. I love baking, especially for my grandkids. They love monkey bread.
What I have to ask, what is monkey bread?
Oh, that's the stuff that you take like a bread and you mix it up with brown sugar and butter, and then you make small pieces and you bake it, and you just pick it off, and they love it because it snacks. They just go in and you know, they just.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I'll make you some.
Sure. All right. So, what is your favorite vacation destination?
I'm sorry, what?
Your favorite vacation destination?
Oh, Hawaii.
I
love Hawaii. I've been there a couple of times. I love it.
Okay. Favorite musician?
Ooh, Bob Dylan probably, or the Beatles. I mean, you know, you're talking to somebody that's kind of old here. Okay.
Can't go wrong with the Beatles.
No.
Favorite song?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm not sure about that one. There's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's too many to name for sure. Favorite form of entertainment? Music, sports, Broadway?
Watching my grandkids on this new thing that they do on this, the cell phones with the, what did they do? What's it called?
Is it a game? Or texting?
Well, it's like they do it to music.
Ah, okay.
But anyway.
Oh, the videos.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a mind blank, but it's a social media thing now.
Yeah, which I struggle with all the time. I'm different generation.
Right. Yeah, that one's even too new for me at the moment. Maybe I'll get into it at some point. But what is your favorite book?
Oh, well, I really like historical nonfictions. And right now I'm reading Diana Gabaldon's Outlander. I'm rereading that for the fifth time. I love it.
Very nice. Favorite restaurant?
Oh, TJ's.
Ah, very good food there. Favorite movie?
Oh, I don't watch movies too much. Too busy.
All right. So I won't do you have a favorite actor or actress? All right. No problem. Well, that's what the rapid fire is all about. You don't have to have a favorite. Thank you. So we got about a minute left, so I just want to ask, are there any final thoughts or anything that you want to say to the voters in the community?
Well, I really hope that everyone gets out there and votes. I think that being active right now is really important for a lot of different reasons. And I think that one of the other reasons why I got involved was because early on I realized that, especially with the planning board, so many of the decisions that we're making today are going to affect our town in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And I think that we have to be thoughtful and really do our research and really do our homework when we're thinking these decisions.
All right. Well, that is certainly very true, especially that last part, that it will have a long-term effect, a lot of the projects going on. But Jane, we want to thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we'll certainly have to do it again sometime, and we wish you the best of luck with the rest of your campaign.
Thank you, Tom. I enjoyed it.
You are tuned in to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, and we'd like to thank everyone out there for watching. Take care, everybody.
All right. So I'm just wondering who among us would like to be the one to tell Tom TikTok is
Yeah.
the word he was looking for.
TikTok. I can't believe we never heard of monkey bread.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
It's so good.
I wonder if he knew the term pull-apart bread. That's another.
Yep.
But
yep.
monkey bread. Oh, so good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jane, for running for that seat and looking to serve our community. You are, as we always say, part of the reason that Hopkinton is a great place to live. So thank you for your work there. We're going to transition to some, somebody said hot pockets. Now all I can think of is hot topics. We're going to transition to some things that are happening in the community that we are becoming aware of. But before that, we're going to kick it over to Matt Clark to give you an update on what's coming on HCAM.
Well, Jim, obviously, as today is Wednesday, we have the gathering in quarantine with Terry Malisi tonight, and I hear she's going to be cooking a delicious 1940s dinner. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to have Michael Alfano talking about art and his work with that, and then on Friday we have Keep Moving at 10 a.m. So we have a lot for the rest of the week coming up. Oh, and then obviously we have a Friday night wake up call Friday night with Sarah Peralta as usual.
And don't forget, Matt, that just added thing I just texted you.
Oh yes, thank you. There is a select board meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. That is going to be talking about the outdoor liquor licenses for restaurants. So thank you for reminding me that, Mike.
Anytime.
I assume that's a COVID-19 related thing, so that now that people can be attending restaurants outdoors.
Now that we're at phase 2, it's outdoor dining, but because Hopkinton doesn't have any licenses for outdoor liquor sales, they need to approve licenses. So they were going to wait till next Tuesday, and all these restaurants went crazy. So they're going to have a meeting on Thursday in the afternoon.
Wow. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's good. I think the only one that has it right now is Pantai, Co, and 110 because they have grills. Patios. So I'm assuming they have the ability to serve outdoors, but not in the capacity. They're only allowed a certain square footage, but now everyone's expanding. Like places are taking over their parking lots because, a lot of these places have little patios, which gives you 2 or 6 seats. Well, 2 or 6 seats now is 1 or 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that why Cornell's paved their driveway, or did they just use this as an opportunity?
That was regular maintenance anyways.
Okay.
Well, I know this isn't a surprise to you, Mike, but I always find it amazing when you go to the 110 grill and they have those like fire columns outside. How much heat those things throw. It's amazing.
Those are for decor. Those aren't the heat throwing ones. The ones that throw heat are even better. So when it does get colder, I'm sorry, they do throw heat, but that's a different part of the system. It is decoration, nice little flames going up in the column, which is beautiful. Yep. But then when it gets cold, the heater's up top and it actually sends the heat down to you. It's actually pretty cool.
Okay. Well, anyways, before we digress even further. So there are a few things that have come across our inboxes and across our websites that we visit that we wanted to share with you in the community. And the first one is from me. I got an email from our good friend, Abby, this morning.
Yes.
As you know, Abby is the founder of the Mental Health Collaborative here in Hopkinton, whose mission is to educate the entire community from roughly middle school age on up about mental illness and trying to erase stigma and trying to make it more comfortable for people to get the help that they need, which I think is a great cause.
Super.
So she had applied for something called the Red Sox Foundation Impact Award.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an award that the Red Sox Foundation gives out, and it's worth $10,000. And this year, the Mental Health Collaborative is one of 5 finalists here in Massachusetts. So this is exciting. She writes that the Impact Awards provide Red Sox fans in the surrounding New England states with the opportunity to support their favorite nonprofits by casting a vote. So she was asking us to just let people know, I believe it is 22nd, by 5 o'clock on June 22nd to please visit the website and cast your vote for the Mental Health Collaborative. The website I mentioned is redsox.com/impact. Pretty easy. And if you're in the U.S. or Canada, you can vote. And I kind of took a look at the website. It's pretty easy to navigate to. So I'm excited for her, and I really hope that she gets it because she's just beginning, and she's trying to get her curriculum set and trying to get into these schools. And of course, coronavirus hits and puts a monkey wrench into everything.
Yeah.
It's a really good cause that she's working on. So if you don't know about it, please go, Google Mental Health Collaborative. You'll find her website, and you can find out more about what she and her collaborative are doing, and maybe visit redsox.com/impact and give her a vote.
Which, Jim, I think this is fantastic. Again, like you said, it's a brand new initiative that she's going through, and that shows you an organization like that has recognized a brand new collaborative, and to do that shows you how good it is. And we know Abby; she doesn't do anything halfway. Everything is full, and good luck to her.
Correct. I mean, knowing her forever with the Sharon Timlin race,
Sure.
she is a real giver and seeking to make an impact. And I'm just really excited because I think that mental health stigma is a crying shame. There's a lot of trauma and tragedy in the world right now, and this is one that really can affect the youth of our nation because there's a lot of shame involved with that, and they think that they're broken or there's something wrong.
Right.
And she is just targeting that dead on to try to overcome that, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, and we're gonna be seeing big things. I can't wait to get her back on. When we're taping in the studios, get her back on the All About Hopkinton, and that's the only thing. And I got to talk to Cheryl. We haven't talked to Abby yet. I'll meet your neighbor.
No kidding. Wow. There you go.
Well, now she's got the time, which, the Timlin stuff and the Angel Fund and everything really kept her busy. But it seems like now she has a little bit more time now. She's focused in that one direction.
Right.
Good for her.
All right, Mike, you're doing a lot of talking. So let's just transition over to you. What do you got that's happening?
Well, as you know, Memorial Day, under the COVID, they weren't allowing large groups to gather. And the veterans, being part of the older crowd, wanted to keep the event small, so we did it virtually. I was fortunate enough and honored to be able to direct and produce their memorial service the way they would normally do it. They start off at Evergreen Cemetery, they visit the stones, and of course, Memorial Day, they lay flags at all our veterans' stones and make sure everything's in order. But they honor them. They do we call it the 21 gun salute. They do a volley at each location. They play taps at each location, and they lay out the wreaths. And we also had some speakers. So we only allowed a handful of veterans come. Craig Hay from the high school had 3 or 4 buglers come. We had the old guard who carried the flag, and as well as doing the rifle salute, Mike Whalen, and put it all together. So I was able to direct it, which it was a huge honor, but we always cover that event. And because it's such a large crowd, we don't get in the way, and we have to sort of like sit in the back. So we really don't get a good close-up of everything that happens. This time I was able to direct it, and I said, no, you stand here. I'm going to be right here. And I thought it came out well, and we played it on Memorial Day. Worked out beautifully. Well, the fire chief saw this. The second Sunday in June is Firemen's Memorial Sunday all across the nation. And that's where fire departments honor their past firefighters, not just their fallen, but their past, the old timers when they go. And so Hopkinton, we do it second Sunday in June. We march from the station up to the cemetery up on Mount Auburn, where we have our memorial stone. And we honor our veterans there Chief says a few words. We lay a wreath. We ring out the all out when we ring the bell and so forth. So the chief decided to do this virtually. And I've been a firefighter for 32 years now in Hopkinton, and I never missed one. I don't go on vacation. I know the second Sunday is for that. And it was kind of hard for me not participating, but because I got to direct and produce this, it still felt good, you know?
Yeah.
So we are doing a virtual Memorial Day Sunday. It'll air on HCAM at 10 o'clock Sunday morning before combined Christian service. It will also be premiered on YouTube as well. It takes about 18 minutes. So basically, again, I got to get all the good angles because I never film it. I never have a picture. It's like, you know, I take a lot of pictures at HCAM, and I never got a chance to like show off a picture until someone would send me one. But I was lucky enough to be able to film it the right way, get the good angles,
So,
get great audio.
Mr. Director, let me just ask you one question.
Wow.
How many times did you make them do it?
Well, I had them do salutes like 5 different times. I had them lay the wreath 3 times, had them ring the bell 4 times. I only had them march twice, which made them look like they're coming down to the stone and leaving the stone because they did it right the first time. A couple times I do have a couple of good bloopers in there, which I will share with the guys. We also the ringing of the bell was the best one. And it was also fun too because the highway we did this on last Wednesday last week at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the funny part about it was the highway was mowing the cemetery. So when we started and I get the headphones on and the chief is talking, we wound up having to stop the highway for a few minutes so we could do our talk without hearing. So if you listen carefully, you might hear a couple lawnmowers. You might hear the neighbor's dog barking, which we couldn't control, but it came out. I think it came out really well. I think I will enjoy it. We usually have a lot of public there. That's why there's usually at least 40 or 50 people in attendance. So the chief wanted to keep everybody safe and do it virtually, which we rather not. We'd rather be there. So, but when we did do our roll call of the honor roll, the deceased firefighters and the prayers and so forth, we still honored them the way we would have done this coming Sunday.
That's really great. I think it's tremendous, the work that you put into that. And of course, I got a sneak peek at the draft cut. So I think it's coming out really great.
Yep.
Really
Just
great.
waiting for one more. You know who you are if you're watching.
You know, and one of the things that really resonates with me is that there's a class of people, you know, veterans and firefighters and police officers who have a vision of the flag representing our community.
Right.
And that can be, as many things can be in today's world, controversial. But what I'm talking about is the flag as a representation of what the United States of America stands for. And another place where I see that resonating is in some of the programming that we've done and in some of the places that I've gone with Girl Scouts and with Boy Scouts and with Lions clubs. You know, they've been around a long time. They have a deep sense of tradition. They have a deep love for many of the attributes that we like to think of when we think of America, trustworthiness and things like that. I think it's really great. In fact, I am looking to get some more Scouts on here. I got a video from some Girl Scouts that I think is really cool. And I'm looking to see if I can get their Scoutmaster to come on and talk about that as well. So I think that it's really important for us in all times to be talking about the values that we want to try to reach for in our lives and what we're standing for.
And I agree. And one thing that you find with all the groups, the values are pretty much the same. It's family, God, and country.
Mhm.
You know, and they all believe in that, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, since you mentioned scouts, can I mention about the little thing we're doing with uh, the scouts, the new
Of
project?
course.
All right, so you know that we had Kim Brennan on with talking about her scout troop.
Yep.
Well, she asked if it was okay if they could make a PSA about how to protect yourself from this point forward for COVID. So she asked, "Well, do you think if we make it, HCAM will play it?" And I'm there, really?
It's nice
Yeah.
that they asked.
It is so nice. And I says, "Do you understand?" And we can't say this enough. This is your television station. We just hold the keys here.
Yeah.
You know, we let you in. This is you do what you want to do. And so that was so nice to hear. And they're all excited. They're working on their scripts right now. And I'm helping them, giving them ideas how, the camera angles, the lighting, and so forth. So, but
Right.
they're gonna turn out a nice old PSA that will be on TV for a while.
Yeah.
At this rate.
Right. All right. Well, that's good, Mike. You took the lion's share of this segment.
Oh yeah, well I could. No, I'm just kidding. I think Bob's here too somewhere. Bob.
I know, Bob. Let's unmute your microphone and see what's new with you.
Well, thank you guys for talking about all the patriotic things that you can do in town. And one of the other patriotic things you can do is vote. And I happen to have a copy of the latest ballot, and I'm going to try and share that with you right now so we can take a look at.
Bob, I think that's called hot off the press.
Probably is. It's so hot it doesn't even show up, but there it is. Specimen ballot. And you can see that they've ballot election day is June 29th, 2020. And this is a copy of the official ballot. It was just released today. Obviously, there's the instructions that everybody knows about. But one of the most important things about this ballot is it's for the people of Hopkinton to get out and vote. Now, I'm not going to go through each and every candidate, but I think it's important to know what positions are up for election. And you can see here that Board of Selectmen has a contested ballot contest between John Catino and Amy Rittenbush. So it's important for the future of the Board of Selectmen to make your choices. We also have some. I'm sorry, Jim. What would you?
Yeah, school committee is also another contested race.
Yeah, I was saving that for later. Because
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
But that's all right. We don't follow a strict code here. We don't even have a script. We just wing everything. But you can see that this is the Board of Assessors, Board of Health, and the Board of Health can be a pretty important part of town government. And then the Board of Library Trustees, and then Cemetery Commissioner, Claire Wright again, and Commissioner of Trust Funds. You can see that Patrick Atwell for Constable. These are uncontested races, but it's still important to get out and cast your vote. Even if you think, well, what difference does it make? The point is to have your say. If you don't vote, you don't have any right to complain about it. We have Commissioner of Parks and Rec, and then the Planning Board. We just saw on the first half, Jane talking about some of her concepts, and she's currently on the Planning Board, but there's room for more. And then the school committee, as Jim mentioned, which is a contested race. You can see that there are 3 candidates and only 2 that are going to be voted for. So it's important, based on the quality of our schools and the amount of the school budget and how things are going to change next year for the schools, that we try and pick the best candidates possible. And whatever the results are of the election, I'm sure they'll be the right ones based on what Hopkinton residents have done in the past. So I encourage everybody to get out and vote. As you know, there's currently a process going on where you can get mail-in ballots. You can get in touch with the town hall and have them send you a ballot. You can fill it out and mail it in. If you don't prefer to go to the polls on the 29th and cast your ballot. But either way, make sure you get out and vote. Thanks, Jim.
All right, that's great. You know, I really like what you said about, you know, even if it's not a contested race, it's important to get out there and vote. I think on one hand, it's kind of like a muscle. If you just get into the mindset when you're voting all the time, when things are contested, you're already in the mode and you're doing it. I also think it's really valuable because when we do election night coverage and I see the results come in, I just think even if it's an uncontested race, the number that is assigned to those, you know, the people, how many votes they get, that's an affirmation of their time, their volunteerism, and what they are doing to help make our community better. So I just think, you know what, they're out there doing the job. The least we can do is get out there and, you know, put a tick on the box for them to say, yes, I like what you're standing for and come represent us.
I agree with you, Jim, and I think it's unfortunate for me anyway, when you look at the results, as you mentioned, of how many people voted for what position in a town with a population our size, you see someone get elected to a position with 6 votes. That just doesn't show much community involvement. Even though it's legitimate and it's proper that that should happen, I just think if people don't get out and make their statements, vote for the person that you think is the best person for the job. And if you think that person isn't, you always have the opportunity to write in a name, but put your name in the ballot box. And that's how things get done.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. All right. Last up on the ballot is Matt Clark. Last but not least.
Oh, I
How
like what you
Matt?
did with that. That was good.
Good segue.
Thank
and I
you.
vote for you, Matt.
That's good segue. Thank you. Well, so for everyone who doesn't know, yesterday on the show we had Sean McAuliffe and Casey Morrow of the Board of Health on the show to give us an update on the town's COVID-19 situation.
Was a great segment, and if you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Yep, it's available on YouTube. One of the things they talked about was thanks to I just don't want to say anything. Thanks to the AFC Urgent Care in Marlborough, we are actually able to offer COVID-19 testing in Hopkinton now. Unfortunately, it's only for people who meet a certain level of requirements, and you do have to have a date preset. You have to make an appointment, but it's going to be offered at the middle school. And so the process is you have to register for the event by June 14th. Oh, let me actually show what I have here, what the form here. So you have to register for the event by June 14th, complete the registration form. I have posted the information, more of this information on our website and also on Facebook, so people can look there. There are links to the registration on that, under those links, if anyone needs those. So then you do need a telehealth visit, which you can register for on the links. Like I said, there are a few requirements. If I switch over here to the site that I've linked to, you can see the testing requirements are here. You have to be showing symptoms consistent with COVID-19. You have to, or be an essential employee, even without symptoms, or if you have close contact with any confirmed COVID-19 individual, you may be tested. And the testing is at the middle school. If I go down a bit, you can see there's a map. So here's the middle school. This is the side entrance near the water towers, which you can see here. So this is Grove Street. Okay. And you can come up here. That's where they're doing the PCR testing. And then they're also doing antibody testing in the front parking lot. So this is a great thing that we're going to be offering. It is, like I said, you have to register by June 14th. So that is just a few more days at this point. And then testing itself is going to be happening on the 18th.
Okay, that's great. And Matt, I just have to say, Hulu and Digimon World, really? What's it doing there?
Those are just, well, Hulu, I got that free through Spotify. The Digimon thing is just a thing I have.
I'm just teasing you. You know, there's always like people looking at, oh, what tabs you have open? What are your bookmarks? And
Jim,
sometimes not the
I'm
right
not
one.
surprised when I'm in the control room and I look through the window. That's all I see, anyways. That's funny. Yeah, that's
You can't
great.
embarrass me if I'm not ashamed by it.
I know. There's nothing to be ashamed of with
Not
Digimon
at all.
World.
So
I mean, what is actually? Well, I don't know that, do I? What is Digimon World?
It's a video game that I've had since I was like 14, and occasionally I go back to it and I get really into it for like a couple of days, and then I don't touch it again for like a year.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a resource I have whenever I go back to that.
Was that one of those playing card games, Matt?
It's not a playing card game. It's I mean, originally it was a TV show. I watched the original TV show when I was a little kid. And it's just something I still have a soft spot for, but this is a Nintendo DS game.
Okay. I just remember back in the Video Paradise days, and they used to have all the game cards in the case there and everything. And, you know, my son was big into the Magic cards. And
Oh, yeah.
but I just, it sounded familiar to me.
Yeah, there are cards.
Okay. I'm not completely crazy.
Yeah, my son and I, we started the game when he was in his higher single digits, and we still play. We just played a game last night. So
That's awesome.
it's amazing in their formative years, when you get that gaming and you really like it, it can last a really long time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Magic the Gathering, I think it's an easy game to like learn what you're doing. But there is so much to it, and the depth of it is incredible. I think it's one of the most complicated games out there.
See, I have to take umbrage at that, because I never liked Magic the Gathering, because it's like they took Dungeons and Dragons and took all the stuff out of it that was great, and now all you're left with are cards.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't care for Magic the Gathering either personally, but
Yeah.
I can't say it's not a great game.
All right. You know what? I can't say it either because I've never played it.
And I get just one more question for Matt. Matt, where did you find that information on the drive-through?
I found that on Facebook. Casey Morrow posted it. I have it posted to our Facebook page and also to our website.
Excellent. I think I'm going to do it because they do allow for essential workers such as myself. So I think I'm going to go sign up.
That's excellent. All right, guys. Well, you know what? I think that brings us to the end of this segment. And thank you for what you're doing. And thank you all for watching this episode. And if you know of somebody or some organization in Hopkinton that's doing some cool stuff, let us know about it. Let us reach out to them and try to share their story with others. And you notice how we mix that up there? Usually I'm talking to people, hey, if you're part of a group, but today I would like it if you know of somebody else. Let us know about them. Let us know what they're doing, because we work really hard to be a reflection of our community, and that is you. And you know what? We get a lot of nice compliments around here, and the reason we do is because we're reflecting such a great community. So thank you so much, not only for watching this episode, but for what you do to make our town what it is today. We're all working together. All right, and that's it. I'm done being sappy.
Where's that soapbox?
I'm sitting on it.
Well, Jim, listen, don't forget about yourself, the things that you do. You're the glue that keeps all of us together here. You don't say much about yourself. That's why, like, you fought me so much to be on Meet Your Neighbor, because you don't like taking that credit, but we can't do our job without you. And we appreciate everything that you do to keep us going.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. We do have an awesome team here, don't we?
We do. It's a lot of fun. And by the way, when you call in payroll today, you can just think of me.
It's okay.
There it is.
It's okay.
All right, I gotta roll the end credits before I get yelled at.
Take care of everybody. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.